So there are things our spiritual leaders, our fathers in the faith, say to us as it were the voice of God. One of such times, God's servant said he went to talk to one of his prophets and said to him, we want to purchase this equipment, we want to purchase this machine. And he said, no, no, no. And as he said no, he stepped out. Yes, yes, yes. According to him, even though there was some little financial losses, but that did not matter to him. Destiny is more important than finances. We have had many people escape trouble that way. I've had them shared several times. One of those days, he called our missionary, one of the western coast nations. He said, hey, be on the next flight on your way home. He saw something that the young man did not see. Get the next available flight and be on your way home. Good enough, there was flight that evening. Flight that evening. You see, you need the spirit of obedience to be sensitive to hear. Otherwise, how can somebody give you notice to leave the same day and then you start packing your load? He packed his load the same evening. The war men came knocking the house. Where is the Nigerian missionary? Where is the Nigerian missionary? He has listened to the voice of his father. Left before they attacked. So it's important that it is not only the voice of God you listen to, but even the voice of your father. So, you see, we have Jesus as our chief shepherd, but we also have under shepherds who hear from the chief shepherd to give us guidance, because we at that moment lack the capacity to listen to the chief shepherd. That's why I would do anything. God's servant says, this is the way. This is the way. This is the way. Am I a dummy? If you think so, I am. Don't you have your own brain? Can't you think? If you think I cannot think, you are right. But if that is stupidity, I thank God for where the stupidity has brought me. And I will remain more stupid than ever before. One day, according to God's servant, one of his mentors called him and said, my son, be with me in Makurdi. It was not convenient. Okay, sir, I'll be there. And as soon as he got to Makurdi, he has already taken his room. And God's servant said, enter the bedroom here and bath. He says, I have my own room. He said, enter here and bath. If you know that man, he speaks with such authority. Enter that place. And he entered and took his bath with the towel on his waist. As he came out, he said, kneel down here. He said, from today, I impart on you the gift of on time. Before needs arise, provision is waiting. Obedience. Obedience. Listen to this. The test of obedience is the ladder to every man's enthronement. Obedience is usually a test. It's usually a test. It's usually a test. God said to Abraham, bring your son. I want to eat him. Before that passage, before that instruction, Genesis chapter 22 verse 1, the Bible says, and God came and tested Abraham. Apparently God had watched the way they were playing with Isaac in the house as the only son. He became the pet. He became the toast. And God said, well, bring Isaac your son. Make a sacrifice. God tested Abraham. He didn't need the son. Before the knife was placed on his neck, God said, stop. This is where Saul missed it. Saul felt, what is the point waiting for Prophet Samuel? In 1 Samuel chapter 11, verse 14, Samuel has said to him, Saul, let us go to Gilgal and renew the kingdom there. Wait for me, I'm coming. And in chapter 13, from verses 1 to 14, Saul could not wait. So his people moved him. They say, hey, you are also a prophet now? Didn't you prophesy with them? You prophesied now. You are a prophet. Don't wait for any prophet again. What prophet are you waiting for? That old man? It will take him time to reach this place, so you know the way he walks. So he said, I was forced. Young men forced him. Yesterday I was privileged to speak with our youth, and I told them, look, no matter the greatness of your vision, if you lack a father to watch over you, you will soon goose. The young man pressed on Saul, and he offered the sacrifice. And Samuel came and said, he said, you have done foolishly. Now will your kingdom will have been established. 1 Samuel chapter 13, verse 14. He said, you have done foolishly. Now will your kingdom will have been established. Verse 13, beginning, and 14. He said, your kingdom will have been established. I have taken it from you and given it to another man. Your kingdom will have been established. So obedience is a test. Now, when you disobey God, what are the woes that comes with it? Number one, the woes of disobedience. It brings about dethronement. You know the story of Adam and Eve. They were dethroned for disobedience. Saul was dethroned for disobedience. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verses 1 to 35. Number two, when you disobey God, you are heading for death. You are heading for death. How? Disobedience is classified as witchcraft trade. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verses 22 and 23. He said the sin of disobedience is as witchcraft trade. And in Exodus chapter 22, verse 18, he said, suffer not a witch to live. That is kill him. So when you disobey God, everything around you dies. And in the end, number three woe of disobedience is wrath. It gets God angry with you all the time. According to Ephesians chapter 2, verses 2 and 3. Wrath. God gets angry every day with the disobedient. What are the benefits of obedience? Number one, when you live in obedience, you attract divine presence, which is another secret that this ministry enjoys all the time. Divine presence. John 8:29. My Father is with me. Jesus said, he that sent me has not left me, because I do always the things that pleases him. Genesis 26. The Lord said to Isaac, in the midst of famine, stay here in this place of famine, and I will be with you. And the Lord was with Isaac. Genesis chapter 26, from verses 1 to 14. Number two, what happens? The benefits of obedience. When you live in obedience, you gain access, unhindered access into the covenant. Genesis chapter 22, verses 1 to 18. Upon obedience of Abraham, God said, now I make my covenant with you. From today I will be God of Abraham, and you will be Abraham of God. There was a tie that comes between Abraham and God. Inseparable. Anything and anyone who touches Abraham was touching God, because anything that touched God touched Abraham. Number three, when you live in obedience, it creates platform for friendship with God. Obedient people become friends of God. John 15:14. Ye are my friends if you do the things which I command thee. Ye are my friends. Abraham became God's friend by consistently living in obedience. Abraham stole the heart of God and became his confidant by obedience to God's command. God was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. He said, how can I do this thing without telling my friend Abraham? Abraham, I want to go and destroy them. And Abraham said, God, sit down here first. Let's discuss. If you find 50 people there, will you destroy them? God said, Abraham, you are making sense, so I will not destroy them. What if you find 5 people? I will not destroy them. Abraham became God's advisor. He became God's counselor. How? By consistently walking in obedience. 2 Chronicles chapter 20 verse 7 tells us that Abraham was God's friend. Isaiah chapter 41 verse 8, Abraham was God's friend. When you live in obedience, let's look at one more point here. You obtain the key to dominion. Obedience delivers to you the key to dominion. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, beginning from verse 3 to verse 6, he said, and when your obedience is complete, you shall avenge all disobedience. You see, there is the law of life that shows to us, whatever a man sows, that's what he shall reap. If you sow disobedience, everything around you, including the devil, will disobey you. If you sow obedience, then everything around you will obey you. Things obey you in response to your obedience to God, and things disobey you in your response, in your disobedient response to God. James chapter 4 verse 7, submit yourself unto God. That's all you need. And thereafter resist the devil. Many of us quote, resist the devil and he will flee from you. But without doing the submission, you are not empowered to do the resistance. Everything obeyed Jesus because Jesus obeyed God. I can of myself do nothing. As I hear, so I do. John 5:30. These are, among several others, the benefits you enjoy for living in obedience. And finally, what happens when you are empowered with the spirit of obedience? Number one, it makes you willing. Obedient people, people who live by that spirit are naturally obedient. You are naturally obedient. Obedience to God becomes a pleasure to you. When that spirit fills you up, you don't need an appeal. You don't need an encouragement to do what God commands. You heard what God's servant said last night? As a result of the obedience to come into this place, he said, I would rather sink with God, obeying him, than shine without him. He said, I would rather be here alone and every other person do not come. It makes you willing. When this spirit comes on you, it makes you prompt. It makes you prompt. You obey God without delay. As soon as Abraham heard, immediately he moved. Abraham, circumcise your son. The same day he circumcised his son. Abraham, go and sacrifice your son. He woke up early in the morning and he was looking for this money. He did not find it in 3 days, yet he did not give up. He was prompt. He was prompt. He was prompt. God said to his servant, arise, get down to Lagos, go and raise me a people. The same day, somebody left Kaduna to come to Lagos. The same day. That spirit enables you to be prompt. It enables you to be prompt. What more? When you are filled with that spirit, it enables you to obey God absolutely. 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 That spirit came upon Moses when he was on the mountain. The Lord said to him several times, see that you do this thing according to the pattern that I showed unto you on the mountain. And Moses came down and began to do those things. Exodus chapter 25 verse 40. Exodus 25 verse 40. What more? When that spirit comes on you, it makes you fearless. It makes you fearless. That is, that spirit enables you to take risk. It makes you fearless. When you are filled with the spirit of obedience, it makes you fearless. Who is with you and who is not with you? One major characteristic I've learned from God's servant is he cares less about who is with him or who is not with him. He can jettison anyone at any time who is not in line with what God has told him. He can cut off from anybody, no matter who he is. The moment God tells him, do this, he's gone. Fearless. Risk taken. That is what has brought us to where we are today. May that spirit of obedience come upon you today. Built Faith Tabernacle. There is no better place where to pray this prayer. Father, fill me with the spirit of obedience. Right now, I receive it. I receive that spirit right now, right now, right now, right now. I receive that spirit right now, right now, right now. I receive that spirit right now, right now. Thank you and thank you, mighty Father. I stand in here at this moment representing the spirit that backs up this commission and his servant, having been privileged to be a partaker, and I decree that the spirit of obedience enter into you now. Every spirit of disobedience working against your destiny, I declare them crushed now in the name of Jesus. From today, your heart has become a heart of flesh. Give Jesus a big hand, everybody. And please take your seat.